Hello, Watem here, and welcome back to some more Umineko When Seagulls Cry. Let's continue. The wind had grown very strong, and roses shook throughout the garden like ripples on the water. This might be our last chance to see these beautiful roses. I'll bet tonight's typhoon ruins them.
バラ、今夜の風でやられちまうかもしれないな。
そうだな。バラたちもラッキーだったと思うぜ。
Also,
台風の前にバトラたちを歓迎できたんだからよ。
okay, yeah.
花はいつか必ず散る。でも、だからこそ咲き誇る今をめでることができるんじゃないかな。そうだな。マリアもよく目に焼き付けとけ。今この瞬間が今年で一番のバラなんだぜ。
目に焼き付ける。
Right then, Maria suddenly clapped her hands. It looked like she'd remembered something.
マリアのバラ、台風で飛ばされちゃう。
ああ、ジョージの兄貴に目印のリボンをつけてもらった。あの元気のないバラか？
Yeah, that one's probably one of the worst off ones. Maria apparently remembered where the rose was. She ran at full speed. The rest of us followed her.
あれはどこだったっけな。確かこの辺だったと思ったぜ。
We searched everywhere around that area. There was only a single flower among all these roses after all. You've lost the tree for the forest. Except it's the tree is the rose and the forest is the whole flower garden. Anyway, even though we knew it was somewhere close by, we weren't able to find it. The winds making up for Typhoon's front lines made roses throughout the garden undulate. It was almost like it was teasing us by making the location of Maria's rose impossible to find.
ここじゃなかったかな。少し手分けをして探してみようか。そうだな。人海戦術で行こうぜ。ん？なんだよ、マリア。
As we made to split up and search, Maria tugged on my jacket with an unhappy face. You could tell that she didn't want us to leave that spot.
なんだよ、どうした？
マリアのバラはここなの。
Can she see it and the others can't?
ここにあるの。でも現にないぜ。この花壇の裏側だったかもな。みんなで探せば早いぜ。ここなの。マリアのバラはここなの。
Did it get healed, maybe?
探して。
Nope, she can't see it.
探して。
Maria stomped her feet in irritation. She pointed at that spot and said it was definitely there, but in actuality, it wasn't. Even so, Maria got mad when we said we were going to search elsewhere. We were at a loss for what to do. For a while, we had to stay near Maria and pretend to search through that rose thicket.
ない。
Maybe it grew legs and walked over to another rose garden? Maybe she's saying that it should be here but isn't. Maria became increasingly irritated.
マリアがすっかり機嫌を損ねちまったぞ。
マリアはたまにすごくどうでもいいことを気にし始めちゃうんだよ。それがどうにかなるときはいいんだけど。
ないものは探せないしね。困ったな。
Just when we were at a loss of what to do, Maria called out in a loud voice. You could see Aunt Rosa in the direction Maria was waving her hand. Maybe she wanted to look at the garden one more time before the typhoon came, Or maybe she had some business at the guest house. Aunt Rosa was coming from the mansion. She quickly noticed her daughter's voice and came over.
あらあら。どうしたのみんな。何か探し物なの
So I'm guessing this is not that long after the whole, well, what's it called? Inheritance discussion got turned on its head.
探してママもマリアのバラを探してマリアのバラって
この辺に元気のないバラを一つ見つけて、それに目印をつけたんです。飴玉かなんかの包み紙でキュッと。しかしマリア、確か俺の記憶が正しけりゃすぐ手前の目立つところに生えてたはずだぜ。足が生えてどこかに行っちまったんじゃなきゃ他の場所だったと思うぜ。マリアの記憶違いじゃないのか。
ここなのパトラが信じてくれない
He also doesn't believe in the witch.
その言うのをやめなさいって何度言ったらわかるの
Yeah, I wasn't expecting them to say what I literally just said, like, what, 20 seconds ahead?
ママも探してあげるから静かにしなさい。
I'd never seen Aunt Rosa be anything other than kind and gentle, so her anger surprised me a bit. Aunt Rosa began searching as well, so we went along with her for the time being. But we were already more than sure that it wasn't around here. So it didn't take long for Aunt Rosa to realize that too.
ここにはそのバラはないわよ。他の場所の間違いじゃない。これだけたくさんのバラがあるんだから。違うの。ここにあるの。ママも信じてくれない。ちゃんと信じて探してるでしょ。でもないじゃない。
But it isn't. You even said that it isn't here.
ここにあるのにないの。じゃあ誰かが抜いちゃったんでしょ。とにかくその言うのやめなさい。
So saying ooh. 9-year-old, of course, says ooh ooh.
マリアのバラ抜いたの誰？抜いたの誰？
Oh, maybe you should get inside away from the storm. Then you can ask in there.
返して返してそんなの知らないわよ。やめなさい。その言うのやめなさい。
Aunt Rosa slapped Maria's left cheek with her palm. In that instant, Maria was shocked into silence. Of course, it was only for an instant. When Maria realized that her wish was being rejected, she started yelling even louder. And you know, from pain too, probably.
その変な口癖をやめなさいって言ってるでしょ。
She's still just a kid.
だからクラスの子たちにもバカにされるんでしょうが。いい加減にしなさい。
Once again, her palm slapped Maria's cheek. This time she didn't go silent. She choked as she started crying and began to bawl in an increasingly loud voice. Yeah, I will just say, hitting people isn't very good at making them stop from crying. Aunt Rosa was clearly irritated and lifted her hand once more to try and shut her daughter up.
ローザおばさん。まあまあ、小さい子供のことですし、そんなマジになんなくても。
I tried to cut in with a bitter smile, rubbing my hands together. But Aunt Rosa glared at me with a serious face, and I realized that I should have stayed out of this.
ごめんね。バトラ君たちはちょっとお部屋に戻っててくれる？おばさんはマリアとちょっと話があるの。
誰もマリアのバラを信じてくれない。ここにあったのに。
It feels... The way which she's saying it just feels odd. I want to say that it's just a kid, thinking it's there when it's somewhere else, but... magic? Maybe? I don't know.
でもないじゃない。なら他の場所の勘違いでしょ。こ
こなの。絶対にここなの。
じゃあなくなっちゃったのよ。諦めなさい。
どうしてマリアのバラがなくなっちゃうの？どうして
知らないわよ、そんなの。だからそのを言うのをやめなさい。
Aunt Rosa once again raised her hand, overcome by emotion, and slapped Maria's cheek. It was strong enough to knock Maria over.
ローザおばさん。いくら娘でも暴力はいけねっすよ。
Yeah. I stepped between them to protect Maria, who was still on the ground, crying ooh, ooh. I knew that, as an outsider, problems between parent and child were none of my business. But I wasn't brought up just to silently observe something like this.
バトラ君は変に思わないの？あなたの学校にうなってる女の子なんている？
いや、まあさすがに高校には。
Yep.
でも小学生ならそういう言うのも可愛いじゃないですか。
And in any case, slapping them isn't going to help.
可愛い？
To say nothing about moral questions of it. It is not effective at what she's trying to do.
言うのが可愛い？可愛いって？
My careless words seemed to have earned me Aunt Rosa's wrath. She grabbed my collar with a terrifying expression.
バカ言ってんじゃないわよ。マリアがいくつか知ってる？9歳よ。
That's less than 10.
小学4年生なのよ。幼稚園児じゃないのよ。それなのにまだクラスで言ってるのよ。わかる？この子クラスでなんて言っていじめられてるか知ってるの？この変な口癖のせいで未だに友達の一人もいないのよ。無責任にマリアのこと可愛いとか言って現実から目をそらさないで。この子の将来のことをもっともっと真剣に考えて。だからその言うのをやめなさい。やめろって言ってんでしょ。
Aunt Rosa struck Maria's quivering head, from which an increasingly unhappy voice was rising. You don't say! I tried to stop it, but Aunt Rosa pushed me away. My back hit George Anarchy.
昔はローザおばさんもマリアちゃんの幼児言葉の一つだくらいにしか思わなかったんだけど。
That still doesn't justify what you're going to say won't justify her hitting.
小学校の中学年になっても治らないのを最近はだいぶ気にしてて。
I mean, yeah. Rosa is probably very frustrated about the meeting getting turned around like that by Kraus. Yeah. But yeah, definitely shouldn't be taking it out on her daughter.
別にどういう言葉遣いをしようと関係ねえだろ。
そのまま社会人にはなれないよ。だから見ていて気持ちのいい光景ではないけれど、これはおばさんたち親子の問題なんだよ。
Hitting them isn't going to teach them anything. It's just going to make them cry and make it them actually say, well, crying sounds more often.
まあ、私もこの言葉遣いのせいでよくお袋に怒られるけどよ。
When we put it that way, maybe even a scene as painful as this isn't something an outsider like me should butt in on.
バトラ君だって小さい頃悪い癖が治らなくて怒られたことがあったんじゃないかい？
It's getting you into trouble and then there's literally beating you on the ground.
まあ一つや二つは。授業参観の日に人前でずっと怒られてた時は恥ずかしくてたまらなかったぜ。
じゃあ今のマリアちゃんたちの気持ちはわかるよね。僕たちにここにいてほしいとは思わないんじゃないかな。ジェシカちゃんにもわかるよね。
怒られてるところを誰かに見られてえとは思わないぜ。
行こう。ゲストハウスへ戻ろう。そしてマリアちゃんが戻ってきたら何事もなかったかのように迎えてあげようよ。それが一番じゃないかい。
I'm going to disagree with it, but my voice won't have any value, unfortunately. We thought George Anaki's point was probably a reasonable one, and we may have been eager to use that reasonable sounding argument as justification to retreat from this heart-rending scene. Jessica and I nodded at George Anaki, and we all left. We called towards Maria, telling her that we were going to head to the guest house, but she didn't seem to hear. We felt sort of guilty and shameless after saying it. Then why?
それなら好きなだけ一人で探しなさい。ママは知りません。
There's a storm coming.
探す。
Dear.
マリアが一人で探す。ママが知らなくても探す。
勝手にしなさい。
After blasting her with those last few words, Rosa spun on her heels and quickly returned to the mansion. Maria probably viewed that as a cold gesture meant to injure. But that wasn't Rosa's intention. It was because the hand with which she had been so emotionally struck Maria's cheek was still numb. It was because, if she stayed there screaming, she might again be taken over by her emotions and continue slapping her daughter's cheek over and over. After Rosa left, Maria was left alone in the rose garden. The wind began to blow stronger and stronger, and every once in a while a raindrop would fall on her forehead. However, Maria couldn't leave that place, not until she found that poor wilting rose. It had definitely been there. Even so, it wasn't. Even though she knew the place, and even though it had been there, it wasn't. Maria bitterly stared at the place it was supposed to be and thought frantically. Maybe the angle I'm looking from is wrong. Maybe the height I'm looking from is wrong. That definitely isn't the case. While gazing at a single point, Maria repeatedly stood up, changed her position, and continued to stare. The wind was getting stronger and stronger, but Maria kept on looking for that rose in front of the flower bed. Kinzo noticed the sound of the raindrops beating on the window. It seemed to be pouring down thickly. It had begun to rain later than the weather report had predicted. Kinzo approached the window, as if being summoned by the sound of the rain. The sound of the rain is the sound of silence. That sound feels quieter than any silence. It makes humans remember that, in the end, they are alone from the moment they're born to the moment they die. Were those words directed at the rainy sky? There was no one to be seen in the direction of Kinzo's gaze. Well, considering that it was just talking about how the rain had arrived late, it's probably directed at the clouds. Before then going into how Beatrice is late.
私とお前の奇跡の宴を。今こそこの島は現世より切り離された。もう誰も私の儀式の邪魔をすることはできぬ。
Interesting.
お前にふさわしい生贄は十分にあるぞ。
I just thought, talking about sacrifices and Beatrice arriving with the rain, Maria is staying outside by herself in the rain. Oh no.
息子たちが4人、その伴侶が3人、孫たちが4人、私に、客に、使用人たち。どれでも好きなだけ食らうがいい。運命の鍵は悪魔のルーレットに従い生贄を選ぶであろう。
First of all, demons. But demons roulette.
そのルーレットが私を選ぶならば、私すらもお前の生贄となろう。
Well, considering that it will select everyone from except from at most one. Well, everyone except from at most one person. Chances are you will become the sacrifice.
だからこそなのだ。それだけの狂気をかけるからこそ、私は必ずや偉大な奇跡を起こすだろう。さあ、好きなだけ食らうがいい。私はそのルーレットに打ち勝つだろう。さあ、すべてを落とすぞ。まずは後ろ宮家の家督を返そう。受け取るがいい。
Kinzo tore the window open, ripped a golden ring off his finger, and forcefully threw it away. At that time, the sound of Rondo rang out, giving the illusion that the lightning had accepted the ring. Is the ring perhaps important to finding the gold? The two. Sure that the two tell of though. Maybe that's 2 items. Cert. Maybe Maria will find the ring?
そしてお前が蘇った時、そこにいるのは私であるだろう。私が最後まで生き残り、お前の目覚めを見守るだろう。さあ来たれ、ベアトリーチェ。ようこそ我が宴。私が生み出したすべてと引き換えに、私にもう一度だけ奇跡を見せておくれ。おー、ベアトリーチェ。
That was some great timing with the music. And we are now 6 p.m. I guess it's dark because of the storm. A new sticker popped up on the TV, on the top of the TV program we were watching. The disaster report told how municipalities all over were continually sending out rain, flood, and wave warnings. Of course, the raindrops beating harshly on the window were even more convincing.
すっげえ降りだな。でもこれだけ盛大だとすぐにやみそうな気もするけどな。
And has Maria returned yet with this really heavy rain?
そりゃ雨ぜ。
Will she get like hypothermia or something?
台風の速度が遅いそうだから、下手すりゃ明日も丸一日こんな調子らしいぜ。ちょっとの天気でも船は欠航するもんだしよ。
やっぱり日曜日のうちには引き上げられないか。念のため月曜日に外部とのスケジュールを入れなくて正解だったよ。
ってことは月曜の学校はサボれそうだな。島生活ってのも悪くないもんだぜ。そういや、ジェシカは登校って毎日船で通ってるわけだろ。船が欠航したら学校はどうなるんだ。カメハメハ大王並みに雨が降ったらお休みで風が吹いたら遅刻してか。
船が出なきゃ休みになるぜ。もっともそう甘くはねえけどな。大抵その代わりに自習が指示されて後でかっちりと見られるからそうそう気楽でもねえさ。
And nowadays it would be swim lessons.
例えば梅雨なんかの長く天気が崩れる時期だと数日間くらい登校できないこともあるんじゃねえのか。
そういうこともあるぜ。でも毎日きっちり担任から電話がかかってきて、どう自習しろ何を提出しろと酸っぱく指導されるけどな。
Yeah, I suppose it would be hard to hand things in one time.
バトラ君が考えてるほど簡単にはサボれないよ。船で通う人たちのルールに従ってしっかり勉強をしているよ。
むしろ登校できた方が気楽だぜ。自分の部屋じゃ気が散るし集中もできねえしな。それでいて問題集ばっかり数日もやらされてるとかなり精神的に応えるもんがあるぜ。大学の時にはよ、寮のあるところに入ってさっさとこんな不便な島はおさらばしたいもんだぜ。
へえ。じゃあよ、ちなみに行きは天気が良くても帰りは悪くて欠航ってなったらどうすんだ。学校に泊まるのか。
そういうのはよくあることだぜ。だから帰島できない人用の宿泊所があってよ、そこに寝泊まりするんだよ。下手すりゃ数日間家に帰れないこともあったりするぜ。
乗車率が 200% を超えるような満員電車で毎日通勤通学しなければならない人から見てみると、船の通学なんて趣があって良さそうだななんて無責任に思っちゃうけど、やっぱりいろいろと苦労があるんだね。
よく無神経な観光客がそういうこと言ってるぜ。私は島の生活なんてもうお腹いっぱいだね。早く高校出てこんな島とはおさらばしたいぜ。
高校にだって全寮制のところとかあったろうよ。なんでわざわざ新島の学校を選んだんだよ。
私は最初からそれを希望してたぜ。
But parents.
でもおふくろがよ、当主後継ぎとしての修行やらマナーやらがうんぬんってうるさくてよ、結局高校も地元になっちまったのさ。こんな島はごめんだぜ。早く都会で生活したいよ。雨が降ろうが槍が降ろうがラフな格好でサンダルを履けば。
I would care if spears were falling from the sky. But yeah, okay.
5分足らずでコンビニに行けるような都会に引っ越したぜ。
Yes. I suppose they're not very convenient if you're on the island.
もう少しの辛抱だよ。高校卒業まであとちょっとでしょ。
そのちょっとも我慢できねえぜ。
Jessica stretched out and reclined in the sofa. Maybe it was a bad time slot, because there weren't any interesting programs on. We had nothing to do but languidly kill time until we were called for dinner. After that episode, Maria never returned to the cousin's room after all. Aunt Rosa probably took her back to the mansion. Had to be pretty boring for Maria, all by herself while the adults had a confusing conversation. We thought we might as well head over to the mansion to see her, but the weather really was awful. And since there wasn't much time until dinner, we stayed where we were. And at that time we heard the sound of a humble knock. Jessica answered.
お食事の準備が整いました。お屋敷へお越しください。
It was Kanonkun's voice. Did he go to all the trouble of coming from the mansion in this rain just to get us? Couldn't he have just called us on the telephone? Well, I guess servants at work don't always get to take the most efficient route.
なんとなくお腹が空いてきた頃だったしね。行こうか。
George Anarchy turned off the television and stood up.
俺はとっくにペコペコ。本家の晩餐は毎回凝ってるしな。それに郷田さん、子牛のステーキとか言ってなかったっけ？
Oh.
たまらねえぜ。
親族会議の日は特に豪華になるしな。私だって楽しみだぜ。行こう行こう。
And on that note, I will be ending it here for today. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments. And until next time. See ya.